Open API has been a very interesting concept for most of the banks and financial institutions. And every institution is in some area or the other, in some level or the other, in terms of its investments into the Open API. Here, today, we are going to have an interesting conversation on what are the global trends in Open API. How are the banks looking at standardization of the Open API? What is happening into the Indian markets and the way forward for Open API? So with me are two very interesting experts from FIME, which is a leading global major in the area of Open API and standards. And we have Mr. Reza with us from Paris and Mr. Angaj Bhandari from India with us. Both are giving us very interesting perspectives today, one from the global market, one from the Indian market and the way forward. So, Mr. Reza, you have been working in the global market. What are the interesting trends you can see in the Open API, especially in the wake of the various privacy laws and things that are coming into the market? What are the interesting trends you can share with us?
So, indeed, the open banking is reaching a wide adoption worldwide, and particularly in Europe, where the Payment Service Directive came into force on September 14, 2019. We observe a different type of trends in the different open banking ecosystem that we analyze. The first one is the prescriptive model, when national competent authorities are providing standardization of APIs for secure communication between the fintechs and the banks, but also providing regulations and mandates to strongly authenticate end user using a two-factor authentications. But on the other end, there is some initiatives which are more organic, like in USA and in some Asian countries, where there is no mandates from a national competent authorities, and there is also no API standardizations and no mandates for the use of a two-factor authentications.
Okay, interesting. So, from a global perspective, what are the interesting standards that are being developed, or what are the regulators or the organizations trying to develop now?
So again, I will use the European example. We are at FIM member of the Berlin Group and also member of state industry initiatives that aims to standardize this API interface. And one of the roles of this organization is to provide a unique functional specifications of the APIs, which will guarantee to the banks the supply side of the market to provide the means of connections to the payment account information which sit in the back end of the bank in a secure way.
Interesting. Thank you, Reza. So coming to you, Angaj, you have been working in the Indian markets for quite some time now. What are the kind of trends you see in your interactions with the financial services sector here in Open API? Now we speak about PDP trying to come back into India and come into India in terms of privacy laws as well. What kind of standards, what kind of standardization and possibilities now?
Yeah, so that's really interesting, Babu, when we try and put things in India's perspective. I would say, and I'm sure you both would agree, that in terms of digitalization, India is fairly progressed and advanced in most of the areas. If you compare it with other, the global parts, we have solutions like UPI, which is one of the unique and most advanced solution. In open banking API space, India, and API is not a new thing in India. API is fairly at an advanced stage. My view is now what we can see that banks are opening up their sandboxes. There are aggregators who are aggregating various financial institutions and giving the platform for developers. Overall, it's a very good initiative where the consumer data, which is available with regulated financial institutions, is being made available to fintechs who are creating innovative use cases and solutions. What is missing in this part is standardization and regulation. Now, India as an approach, and when banks are opening up sandboxes, regulator is also trying to play some role. I think we should implement standards to protect the consumer, and we should ensure that anybody who is accessing the bank's APIs should have a compliance framework. So testing and the security, on the functional and testing security should be in place while we are exposing the APIs to fintech world.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you for a wonderful conversation and insight.